Evelyn Hollow here. You know, sometimes I feel unmotivated to create art. I find I get bored, even frustrated with painting on the same things over and over again, like on watercolor paper or canvases or digital art. So I wanted to try something new, something that will excite and inspire me. And to find that thing, I had ventured outside to see what I could find. Surely something will spark my interest. As I was walking, listening to the birds sing, taking in the beautiful nature surrounding me, I saw it. There it was, a piece of bark. Yeah, it was a little dirty, but that was to be expected since it's outside. I'm just kidding, that's not actually how I found the bark, but what really happened was one day I was putting some wood in the fireplace since it was really cold, and I picked up the piece of bark and I was like, hey, I can paint this. And that's basically where I got the idea from. And so it sat in my room for ages. It started to collect a thin layer of dust, which spoke highly of all my amazing intentions for it. I like to think I was thinking up of so many ideas in the back of my head every time I looked at the piece of wood, but in reality, I was just putting off with working with acrylic paint, as I knew that's the medium I was going to have to use on this wood. And as a little bonus, I found this other tiny piece of bark, which I just thought was so cute and I really wanted to try paint it. And I really like the warm tone of wood, which contrasts nicely to the bigger piece of wood that has more of a blue undertone, so it's more cooler, where this has more orange. One more thing I want to mention about the bark before I start painting is I made sure that both sides of the wood dried at the same rate. So I didn't have it against the wall or something. I had it by my fireplace, which has a fire guard, so it can allow the heat to get around both sides of the wood. Because if one side of the wood doesn't dry at the same rate as the other, it would shrink, causing it to curl. Now, as you can see, my wood is still slightly curled up, but it would have been way worse if I didn't dry it the way I did. Whereas my little piece of bark is completely flat, so that's going to be no trouble. And before I paint, I need to put on my painting jersey. Just in case I spill any paint, it does not ruin any of my nice clothes. Now I am putting on a plastic cover that protects my desk from any paint as well. Here are some of the things I'm going to be using. I have an undercoat primer that originally came in a huge bucket, but we just poured some into an old coconut oil container so it could be more accessible. I also need a jar for water and a few different paintbrush sizes. And now we can finally paint. I've been waiting for so long and I'm so excited. And luckily I did wait because originally I was going to paint directly on the wood, but luckily I asked my dad about the process and he said I should use a primer undercoat which is designed to stick to unpainted surfaces like my bark. But by using this undercoat, it stops the acrylic paint from absorbing straight into the wood. And if I didn't use the undercoat, the acrylic paint would have most likely flaked off. So I was very thankful for his advice. It's not like it needed to last forever either. It's not like it's going to go in a museum one day or something. But I would like it to last, at least in my room, hopefully for my lifetime. So I would prefer if it doesn't flake. And that is the undercoat all finished. Now you're probably wondering, what could I possibly be painting? Well, the options are limitless since it's just a white blob at the moment. So what I decided to paint on the bark was a hobbit hole. I thought the whimsical nature of the Shire would fit perfectly on the piece of wood. Plus I really like the movies and have been to Hobbiton twice now. When I first went to Hobbiton, I was really young and hadn't seen the movies in years, so I couldn't really appreciate what I was seeing, like the nature of it all, and it was just incredible, the view. All the hobbit holes and the live props, like all the vegetables and gardens, was amazing. But the second time I went, I appreciated it a lot more because I had seen the movies beforehand and I was becoming a really big fan of the movies. It's still been quite a few years since I last went to Hobbiton, but the memories will stay with me forever. It was just amazing. Like, we even got to go to the Green Dragon and get ginger beer. There was outfits you could dress up as the hobbits. Like, I had some clothes in the Green Dragon and it was just incredible. Like, I thought it would be amazing, but when you're there in person, it's just a whole nother level of, I couldn't imagine what it would be like, and it was so much fun, so highly worth it if you ever get the chance to go. And that ginger beer, we got to have it in a ceramic mug, and it was the best tasting ginger beer I have ever had. I just thought I wanted to add that. So let's talk about the painting a little bit now. So as you can see, it's taken me a lot of layers and I've had to skip quite a lot of the process, otherwise this video would be very long. But it just takes many and many layers to start looking any good. You know, that's why I always struggled with acrylic, is because I just wanted to get straight to the details, and as you can see I've skipped ahead so we can get to those now, but it took me a long time to understand the process of working with acrylics, and that was a hard thing for me to learn. Well, really I'm still learning it. That's kind of the fun thing about art, is I find whenever I'm the most struggling or the most frustrated at my art, normally I like take a break, but that's usually when I'm so close to making a discovery of learning like a whole new subject. Like for example, on digital art, I was having such trouble with picking colors and my art just not turning out very well, and so I went and researched it on YouTube and found all this stuff about color theory and like the hue, the saturation, and I realized I did not really know how to use that. And it's okay if you're maybe struggling with art. You could be on the verge of discovering that you need to learn more in a certain area of art. Maybe it's anatomy or color or composition. To quote many artists that I've heard say, you've got to trust the process. And here it is, the Hobbit hole all finished. I am so happy with it. And I picked blue as the Hobbit hole door since that is my favorite color and I thought it would match my room. So let's go on to the next thing I'm painting. So for the second thing I'm painting, I couldn't keep it as much as a surprise. As you can see, it is a silhouette I am doing the undercoat for, so it's not like a white blob like the last Hobbit hole door. And as you can probably tell, it is mushrooms, but it's this strange type of mushroom I saw on Pinterest. I just thought they looked really cool, and so I'm painting them. With the other piece of wood, I actually quite like the curve because I think it gave it more character, where I do like this little one and how it's flat is quite a bit easier to paint on, and the other one with it curved, it did rock. But it was quite fun to try painting on a curved piece of wood and a flat one. So I'm just trying very hard not to go too far out of the white lines, but also far enough that it covers it. It was a very tedious job. I don't normally paint around an outline, so it was quite difficult for me, but as you'll see very soon, there wasn't really much point of me trying to stick to the white outline. Because the more I painted this mushroom, I realized how much the warm orange and the warm brown blends in very much to the background of the bark. I didn't realize how similar they were. So what I ended up doing was painting a bit of like green in the background, which I think really made it pop, because otherwise the mushroom just disappeared into the wood. And so as you can see, I didn't really need to stay so closely around an outline because I ended up covering it. And so I made a few mistakes with the actual mushroom proportions, like a few of the gaps between the mushrooms I accidentally ended up covering with the orange because I didn't realize those were supposed to be spaces. So the greenery really helped to just be able to fix those little mistakes, and I think it ties in a bit better with the Hobbit painting as well, since that also has a lot of green in it. And the orange isn't the exact same with the wood, I just felt like the brown top, I don't quite know what the word is for the mushroom, but I felt like that blended too much in with the background. And here I'm just having fun playing with different textures of the brush because I don't work with acrylic very often, so it's fun to just try different techniques, placing bits of colour and seeing if they work or not. I'm just adding some finer details with the yellow onto the mushroom. What really made me want to paint this was mainly the colours of it. I really hope I captured it. Just adding on the last very few details, the little highlights of the grass. And here we are, it's all finished. Oh, I had such a lovely time working on these two projects, and I really hope you enjoyed watching. It was really fun to try and work on a new medium. I hope to see you again, and remember, keep creating.